Hey, folks, how are you? Ted Asregadoo here from Planet LP. Guess who's next to me? Wait, that way, that way. It's John Young. Hiya, John.
Hey, Planet LP inhabitants. It's great to be able to talk to you. In fact, the word inhabitant occurred to me, Ted, as a way to maybe give the folks who have been so generous and jumping on board the Planet LP with us, they deserve some sort of a moniker. Okay. Why not call them the inhabitants? Hey, we've heard from another inhabitant. And
I like it.
Well, you know, if you're on the planet,
we're inhabitants of Planet LP. Yes,
right.
We are.
And we can't do it without all those inhabitants. I mean, yes, we can set up the basic premise here, but without all those people joining in and supporting us, I just felt like they deserve something other than, hey, thanks for liking the page.
Yeah. Or thanks for the follow.
Yeah, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the Instagram, whatever.
I like it. Our inhabitants. We're doing a special video because, well, we had a little scheduling problem. So we took 1 week off, which is fine. It happens. But we wanted to do a little video from listener recommendations. On our Instagram channel, I've been getting a lot of direct messages. They're just called messages. And they're from
inhabitants.
Folks, from the inhabitants.
Just saying.
From the inhabitants. I'm sorry. I got to get used to that. I think
it doesn't roll off the tongue.
Right. Well, like anything new, you're always going to make mistakes. And I made a mistake. So what? I know I owned up to it. But anyway, on our social channels, we've been getting listener recommendations, inhabitant recommendations, I guess. And we wanted to feature not one, but two of these artists. And the first one up is Molly. Molly, let me pull up a little information. I have it a little bit on my phone here. And I might have to put on my because, hey, folks. I'm a little bit old. There we go. Now I look a little bit more professorial, you know.
Well, so, especially if you bite on it before you make a point.
Yes, I could use it as a prop to gesticulate, that sort of thing. So first up is Molly. She was born Molly Warburton. She's from Lancaster in the UK. She's young. She's in her 20s. She's a 20-something singer-songwriter. And this was recommended to us by one of our inhabitants, Amelia, on Instagram. And she sent us a message that read in part, just thought I would share singer on Insta, molly.music. Just listen to one of her songs. Molly's vibe is inspiring, crazy. I thought you'd enjoy it too. So here's a sample.
Maybe we'd be fine. Place a bet. We play the game. And all the noise it makes me dream.
Well, what did you think, John? What do you think of Molly's music?
I absolutely loved Molly's music. And without sounding too much like a fanboy and not enough like some sort of a hardcore music critic, which I'm not, I all of a sudden got some altered images vibe. The band out of the 80s with Claire Grogan, who was on their Bite record, right?
I'm pointing in the wrong direction, but yes.
Don't talk to me about love. Anyway, I thought that Molly had a lot of that vibe to her, altered images vibe. I also thought that she had a little bit of a Florence and the Machine, Dog Days, that sort of driving beat. Not only did I think her vocals were ethereal and super cool, but I liked the production. Again, she kind of added a little bit of distorted guitar into the chorus where it wasn't there before. And anytime you're going to throw a distorted guitar in, you're going to sort of grab me by the heartstrings. I always think there's a place for it, even in music that may not call for it. Just a little sprinkle here and there of a Les Paul through a small tube amp. I also heard a little bit of the Cranberries. I heard a little bit of that vibe with her, but I think she's got that singer, songwriter, guitar player energy strong. I mean, I hear this and I think this is better than a lot of stuff I hear, currently being churned out of the hit factories all over the world. So I give Molly a high marks. I don't know if we're grading her? Or,
Nah, just
Yeah,
I think we can recommend it. I think it sounds like you're recommending this song.
I absolutely do. In fact, it's the kind of song I call them gateway songs when we hear new artists. It makes me want to go find out more. I want to hear more Molly stuff. I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you thought of it.
I really liked it too. So I can recommend it. The guitar, she starts off with like she plays a lot of acoustic on there,
Right.
but towards the end of the song, things start to build, and you being the musician, you would know better, but it sounds like an atmospheric synth that's underneath her, and it kind of builds it up to the end of the song. I thought that was really effective. And you and I work in radio, so if I were to put on my radio hat, and by the way, folks, there is no radio hat, but let's just say that there is a hat you put on and it says
it's
radio.
Like a big sombrero, right? You know, with like little notes dangling around it, really.
So, but if I look this, if I were a program director, say in adult contemporary radio, that and I put this song into rotation, how would this stack up against a playlist that had like Dua Lipa or Taylor Swift or The Weeknd? How does that? And I think it would stand out in a really good way, because sometimes, you know, artists catch a trend and that trend bleeds over into another artist, and then they all kind of start to sound a little bit alike. But this one I think would pop out a little more than if it were, say, in the 90s during the sort of Sarah McLachlan era, that sort of thing, and Jewel. Not so much. It would sound a little too sound alikey, but I think this one would pop out more.
I agree. I think that's what the Florence and the Machine's Dog Days song did. It's a great tune, but it jumped out because it was just a little bit different. It wasn't necessarily trend setting yet. It was still ear candy. It still made you want to go, who's Florence and the Machine? I want to find out more. It was a great entryway song. I think Molly pulled this off with Holding On. I'm proud of you, Molly. I can't wait to hear more of your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think John and I are heading down to the YouTube rabbit hole to check out more Molly, and you should too.
I don't recommend that you don't go too deep there. Just make sure you've left a note with someone so they know where to find you.
So our next band is from Sri Lanka, and they are called Unscripted. Oh. They are. We've got a lot of nice things to say about this band, but let's just have a listen to this song that they recorded live. By the way, this is a live take, and it's called Hourglass.
Driving through a field of memories, fell into myself so deep. Found myself inside a reverie, flowing aimlessly and bleak. Passing lonely street signs, chasing strangers' wild eyes that I know too well. They are here to dwell, bravely passing through time, broken soul in disguise. I have come too far, it is much too bad. Then I saw, felt like a lifetime, yeah, lost in the hourglass of time. For a while, for a minute, watched as the world flew by, watched as the winds crashed my little island.
All right. Well, what did you think?
First of all, where were these guys in, say, 1986 when I was buying, I don't know, this record? Because I did. Okay, Diamond Mine. I feel like when I first heard it, and I've heard it maybe 6 or 7 times now, and took your advice, just immerse yourself for an hour or two, during commute time and whatnot. And the tightness combined with the accuracy and the groove and soul to this thing is such a cool amalgamation. Oftentimes when you have really precision players, Rush excluded from this, some of the soul can get drained out of it a little bit. Rush, very soulful and very accurate. This band, Unscripted, is very accurate. Yet there's something about them that's loose, and they're having fun in spite of the fact that they don't miss an effing note in this song. And so again, gateway drug for me here. I got to go. I need the album. I want to buy I'm buying all the merchandise. Give me a coffee cup. I can't believe that you found them, but in some ways I can, because you do look for some of these bands in places that a lot of people wouldn't look. And I'm really impressed with them, not just as a potential backup band to Sade, but I mean, as an amazing R&B. What do you do? How do you describe them? I mean, I was so
Yeah.
so groovy to this band, Hourglass.
Hourglass, but yeah, Unscripted. They're so good. I found this band by listening to another music podcast, and it's called Made in India, and it's hosted by a young woman named Mae Thomas, hence the name Made, right? It's a different spelling than, but she featured this band, and it was just like the most recent episode that I was listening to at the time. And I was like, whoa, wait, one, I did not know that an indie rock or just alternative rock and an indie scene existed in India at all. I had no idea until I listened to this podcast. And then secondly, like you, I was so taken by this song. I was just like, who are these guys? They're so good. They play, like you, I think you put it this way, they're tight, but they're loose at the same time. Like there's a groove to it. And yes, Sade would definitely should hire these guys if she ever decides to
coming back out on tour. You got to hire them.
The backup band,
as you were talking about, Simply Red.
Yeah.
Some of these other bands I was thinking of that have that ability to just, I mean, they're top of the line musicians, but they're still playing like they're loving the song as much as you are. They're not just presenting it to you. Mm-hmm. They're fully immersed in what they're doing. And you feel that on this track. It's just, I dare anybody who doesn't like smooth groove, good guitar, great drums and bass to not like this. If you don't, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah, I would not know what's wrong with you either. I would say you need to go to a doctor. Call your doctor. You may have
call your R&B doctor.
Call your R&B doctor. Right. If you a little back story on, I took this off their Facebook page, so I'm not doing like deep research here. And honestly, there isn't a lot about this band that is out there publicly. They have some of their local papers covering them, but it says, according to their Facebook page, Unscripted is a band from Colombo, Sri Lanka. Their roots are deeply embedded in Kotte. Kotte is the administrative capital, which is near Colombo. They call it K-Town, just like I guess we call Oakland O-Town.
Or Sacktown.
Yeah. Or Sacktown.
916.
Yep. Or
Sorry.
So Unscripted specializes in funk, hip hop, and dance. However, the band broadens their horizons into jazz, which is what I heard a lot of in some of the guitar sound, R&B as well. So that song Hourglass, and my notes on it are very similar to yours. I hear Sade, but I hear Steely Dan in the guitar work. There's like
That's
a little
great point. You hear a little like Jeff Skunk Baxter, Walter Becker kind of, that Stratocaster without any distortion on it. That's just singing these leads that are so pronounced. Oh yeah, this dude's got it figured out.
It's the clean setting on the amp, right? Isn't that what they call it? Yeah,
no
it's not
distortion,
dirty.
Man. It doesn't need it. That bass player is holding everything up. He and the drummer are on fire. So the guitar player gets to dance.
And we should talk a little bit about the lead singer. His name is Steven Shera. I like his voice a lot. It just slices through in just a pleasant way. It's not smooth jazz. It's not really Sade, but it's soulful. It's everything that I talked about. It funks, it grooves. It's got a little bit of jazz. It's got some R&B, and it's just a solid song. I
would advise folks, it's not going to put you to sleep. In fact, this isn't that kind of smooth jazz. This has got a funk R&B flavor to me. And you know what? Let me also thank the lead singer for caring about the fact that this is a visual medium. This is a very good looking dude with a gigantic head of gorgeous brown hair out there, just understanding how he's relating, at least in this clip. You kind of can't take your eyes off of him, yet all the band members around him are just killing their various instruments. And it really was a cool, visceral, visual experience, not just listening to it. And that's why I recommend people, see the clip that we saw via the website and Facebook page, because it's pretty cool.
It is. I think that if I were to put on my radio program director hat again, I would definitely slot this in adult contemporary, but triple A. Like before, we're Bay Area folks, so there was a triple A station called KFOG. They're no longer on the air, but on a KFOG type station, this thing would really stand out. Amidst all of that, what's played sort of somewhat Americana at times, but then again, you get this sort of smooth sound. And that's, I think, the effectiveness of both these songs is that given the musical landscape that we're in now, these two songs will stand out. And I think that sometimes when you are an artist, musical artist, if you can kind of go against the grain a little bit, so you're not sounding too much like a sound alike, that'll get you like noticed, and you will be much more of a presence, a unique presence on the air and in the musical landscape, instead of just saying, oh yeah, that sounded like that song 2 songs ago, and I'm supposed to like that. So anyway, that's my hot take on it, as it were.
And hot and great takes. And I also want to kind of, as the musician here, well, we're both musicians. Let's not forget Ted Asregadoo plays instruments, and he's very good at it. He kind of undersells that.
Not as good as you. Not as good as you.
Understanding from a musical perspective, Unscripted can play rings around what I mean, Ed Sheeran's band wishes they were as good as this group of humans. They understand R&B, funk, smooth, but they know how to make it. They know how not to put you to sleep. I mean, I think that's key here as we talk about how this would be just a little bit cutting edge compared to a lot of the stuff you've heard. But you're going to want to turn it up. I mean, it's not distorted, but it's not to be. I don't look at this as background music. I wanted to hear this again and again. I wanted to get into the story this guy's telling, and the lead singer really does have you captivated. I mean, they've got their performance figured out, not just how to work the final product into a nice piece of music.
I think that these 2 songs are very strong, and I agree wholeheartedly with you, my friend. And I think we should do one of these videos again sometime soon and start doing with more inhabitant recommendations. See, I almost said listeners.
It's working.
It is. Your magic is working.
The inhabitants are saying, hey, I've got an idea. I know this band, or I know an up-and-comer, or I know somebody who's just got some label interest, but what do you think? Yeah. And it gives us a chance to discover some new music, something that my buddy Ted Asregadoo is very good at, something that I'm learning to do more of. And when I find it, like Unscripted, like Molly, I'm like, this is like finding a little piece of treasure. It's so cool. I tend to be, I'm a 56-year-old codger. I tend to go back to my favorite, comfort food music sometimes. This is a great chance, hopefully, for inhabitants to discover this stuff too and go, wow, there's people making amazing music out there. We just got to find it, and let us be your intergalactic guides as we look for more.
Yeah, we'd love to do the reactions to them because it's new. We're coming at it like you, like a lot of like the inhabitants on Planet LP, right? They heard it. They're like, you've got to hear this song, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're just paying it forward, spreading the love, that sort of thing. But we have our social channels. You can hit us up on Facebook, where at Planet LP, Instagram, we're at Planet LP Podcast, and then Twitter, it's the Planet LP. But I have a little commercial to remind you at the end of this video. So until next time, John, this was fun. We should do this again.
It's fun because I love to talk with you, but I'll be honest with you. I like to be in sort of the same digital realm where I can see you, and I definitely like to bike with you. And, I like to hang out with you and the family. So this is a chance for us to have a little bit of fun and come at it like true fans to music that we hadn't discovered until a week ago. It's awesome.
Exactly. So until next time, folks, thank you for watching. We'll see you.